The mentoring and leadership development programs for scientists and leaders of scientists are to help them navigate complex challenges in climate and the environment. We've worked hard to create opportunities for women to step into leadership roles through mentorship and initiatives like our Women in Science Leadership Network. Mentoring is about creating opportunity and equipping them with the support they need to make the greatest impact. When people are supported to do that well, that's when you see real change.